I look at the individual ballot when it comes out. I'm not sure.
Stay as
Okay.
independent as possible for as long as possible.
No, I
Probably
don't
wise.
believe that. That false pretense, but I also don't, yeah. I've gotten into it with other moderators on that antiquated thought process. I
Can't imagine.
know, me getting into it with people,
It wasn't you I was thinking.
so, yeah.
Hello, how are you?
All right, what is this? I'm looking for the email.
Conservation is here.
Master plan.
Definitely here.
We don't have our name tags anymore, so I think we need to.
Sometimes we
That's
do.
Are you representing Town Facilities today?
The recording is on whenever you guys are.
Oh,
Okay.
So you know.
watch your mouth.
Yes, Rob, right. You want to do the honors? of-
Sure.
Hand off?
All right, it is now 6:31 and I'm gonna call this meeting to order. So. For roll call, I'm Lindsay Smith, co-chair. Master Plan Task Force, we'll go counterclockwise.
Over Mayor, member.
Shirley Green, member.
Joellen Courtney, member.
Dan Regan, member.
Yeah.
Bridget Labrie, member.
Rob Taylor, staff.
Mhm.
Whitney Banker, staff.
Celia Piero, member.
David Frack. Member, candidate,
Co-chair,
co-chair,
not candidate,
you name it.
I'm not a candidate here.
I'll answer to anything.
And then, joining us online tonight is,
Crystal Consultant.
Liz Kelly, Resilience Planning and Design.
excellent, thanks everyone.
And member of public.
And then we have people from the public as well.
I'm Dr. Tice.
Great, thanks. All right. Next agenda item, review and approve minutes, meeting minutes from September 16th. Did everyone have a chance to look them over? Does anyone have any like, if you have grammatical changes, just submit those to
Whitney.
Whitney. I was like, I almost said Wendy and I was like, that was wrong. Whitney, but is there any, does anyone have any edits for those minutes? If you were here.
Good job.
Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, great. So we're gonna move on to discussion of the draft conservation chapters. We're gonna turn it over to Liz and Crystal. Hi. Yep, Liz, we can't hear you.
Muted those.
That could be us.
Heard her earlier.
I didn't mute anybody when they were coming in.
Still can't hear Liz. Crystal, can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
We
Crystal,
got
we
you loud and
can.
clear. You didn't hear Liz when she introduced herself, but we don't hear her now.
Did she just?
I haven't muted anybody.
She's not indicating that she is muted.
Liz came in while you were out. I just let her in. I didn't.
But
mute
she,
her or anything.
but she's, when we said,
No, but she said her name.
introduce the consultants, she said resilience.
She's having that hand signals.
She's gonna go
We
up.
did not
and
hear you.
back. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh. Oh, she's going out.
Just-
Oh, come back in. All right.
Let her in as soon as she comes in here.
Okay. While we're doing that, is there any way to put the chapter,
Which one were we starting with?
conservation?
Conservation.
Is it better for us to put it up or for? Although
In
you're
the,
probably gonna have
for
to.
the sake of time, absolutely. We'll get
Minimize
her in.
it.
Let me just keep an eye. Here she comes. We'll let her in now.
Well, that way, if you share it, people technically online can see it, right?
No.
No. Oh, no.
Dear.
Something
Hold
happened.
on.
How weird.
I think she's got to click on the sound and maybe try a different. Actually, there's three different, or a few different, depending on your
Yeah.
computer.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm talking.
I should change that
Not
again.
muted.
She didn't, yeah, should try again. Yeah, so if you share screen here, right, people can.
That's
see
it.
it.
Try that. Well,
Yeah.
okay, so. While we're waiting for her to pop back in, this is the conservation chapter. That's where we're gonna start.
Yes.
Once again, awesome use of the aerial
Mhm.
Oh,
shots.
nice, yeah.
The cool shot there. That must have been. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
let her in now. Let's see if it's helping.
Oh,
Oh,
I heard
it
something.
was very quiet.
she's talking to Crystal, I think.
Could you hear her on here?
Oh, maybe that was.
Yeah, we heard I heard a snippet of her voice, but
Can you hear her now?
oh,
Oh, that'll start a vicious feedback
There we
loop.
go. Liz, if you talk, does this work? No.
No. Now you get a feedback loop.
Liz, click the little drop down arrow next to the mic button in the upper right. I think it should be able to see whatever microphones you have.
oh, I heard something there. Oh, here.
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
Other option is to. Can
You
you
call
call
up,
in?
we could put our speakerphone here.
That used to be a feature of Zoom, but I don't
I don't
know
know.
if Teams has that option. We do have somewhere.
Oh.
Nothing? What's it?
I heard a pink, a downed.
It's popping out again.
All right,
Bob, since there are no guests, any chance we could set this up on Zoom rather than Teams?
probably,
It's how we,
It's not listed on the.
yeah, I don't think we
Calendar.
can change it, because
Yeah.
people wouldn't be able to attend if they wanted to see cameras.
There's this cool
Yeah.
thing, but I haven't used it. So
her voice worked, so.
how about, does anybody want to use a cell phone? Just get her on.
Yeah, we could just use.
Yeah, put her on the speaker on a cell phone.
You can use mine if you want.
I have no signal, so it's not gonna help for me, but
Oh, yeah. That's
Oh,
the other
yeah,
thing.
forgot about that.
This building is hard to.
Yeah.
that is.
Say I have.
Would you come?
Well, you can do it.
Come on,
Internet.
yeah, Liz.
Work.
She talking?
Oh.
Huh?
Yes,
Found
Say
it.
something.
Say it again.
Found it.
Very faint.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Oh.
There we go. We hear you.
Can you turn up your volume?
I'll turn up her volume.
Oh.
There we go.
Everyone can hear now. Wow, I'm glad that we figured that out.
All right, take it away.
Okay, perfect. So like Lindsay said, we've sent you 3 chapters. We'd love to talk about the conservation chapter. All
Louder, Rob.
comments, suggestions, and missing anything. That's one of the biggest questions has to do reference, but we're
Oh.
Uh-oh.
You've got microphone
done
problems.
Okay. Wait,
Huh. Has she got the gain on her microphone set way down, maybe?
I don't know.
She should be able to improve her gain.
well here.
We're definitely having audio problems.
No, we can't hear you again, Liz. It sounds like your microphone isn't picking you up. I don't know if that's a,
Move it.
do you have earbuds or anything that connects in Bluetooth now?
Oh,
Oh, there you
There
are.
you are.
so you've heard.
You may have to stay, yeah,
You're just really quiet.
Tell me
but-
now.
good.
Good,
Better.
good.
That's better.
All right,
Just
I'm
talk real
pulling
loud.
up my laptop right
Yeah. Raise your hands, foil hat, and create an antenna. All right. Well, we'll just try to get through.
You're all gonna be talking more than me. That's good.
Okay.
We'll roll with it.
Okay.
Comments and suggestions on the conservation. chapter.
There we go. All right, so who has, have read through the conservation chapter, and or wants to start with some comments, suggestions?
Do it, you.
Well, we're gonna go here, we'll open it up to the public in a few minutes. Thanks.
On page 71, there was some comment about the Conservation Commission acquiring land such as the Lakeside Park. I don't recall that they had any involvement, or I'm not sure that they were involved with acquiring that land.
I don't think so. either.
I don't think we can take credit for that either. That was the first thing that jumped out at me. I don't know where that came from.
But was it, the way I was reading it was more that maybe there was input from the commission on when parcels became available, like they would be good
well,
too?
Down below
Yeah.
on Conservation Commission, it says acquired land by the railroad and converted it into the Lakeside Park,
Okay, that's,
which
Wait.
exemplifies excellent lake.
Where
Where are you at?
That's on page 74.
Okay.
That's the one that really
Okay.
jumped out at me.
So maybe on 71, before we jump to 74, I see where,
Joel.
I don't know why names are just
It's
going
okay.
out of my brain today. Joellen is, said, and it just says, in recent years, there's been a focus by the town's Conservation Commission on acquiring, maybe it's, and maybe there's a way to rework that, that's saying that they have supported the town to acquire. Not the Conservation Commission is not acquiring those, but has supported the town, is that what?
And where was
Acquired-
this, Joellen? I didn't-
Page 71.
I'd just soon drop it.
Page 71, the last paragraph above farmland. So it says
Okay.
conservation land. In recent years, there's been a focus by the town's Conservation Commission on acquiring parcels of land to conserve and utilize for public access. Example of these properties include Lakeside Park and Harrisbrook Scenic Area
so what if you say instead of there has been a focus, just there has been support
by,
by the town's conservation commission?
Yeah. But they did have a lot, the Harrisbrook Scenic Area, there was a lot put into that by the conservation.
right, so that's where I don't think we wanna completely drop it because
Right.
you've played a role. But it's how we wording it, so that makes sense what the role is.
So just take focus and make it support
Yeah,
or
um,
NA.
You can do that.
okay. And then you saw something on 74, Shirley?
Which is
On 74,
now the same
it says,
topic.
So, okay,
yeah, it says acquired land by the railroad and converted it to Lakeside Park. Oh. I can't take credit for that.
Right.
Can we apologize?
About happened when I was on the.
How about going back to, rather than acquired, support the acquisition of, to your point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Just
maybe
that.
just that, yeah.
Because the Conservation Commission would certainly support that.
right, and were you part of the charrette and all of that kind of stuff that happened? Remember, all that happened
was
way
too.
before Lakeside Park then became, but there was the charrette.
Right.
Mhm.
There is the, and then working with invasive species studies and all that kind of stuff. So I think
Mhm.
does that make sense?
Yes.
You could make this different, I mean, make this easier, if you just said. Commission on acquiring parcels of land to conserve and utilize for public access, period. In addition, well, no. Other properties included the Lakeside Park and Harrisbrook Scenic Area have been acquired, which are valuable, open spaces in town. something like that, you don't have to, that period would exclude the idea that the Conservation Commission had, material action for the Lakeside Park.
Okay.
And Harris Brook really was the town property anyway.
Mhm.
All the Conservation Commission did was make an effort to advertise its availability for recreation.
Okay.
Going
Okay,
with
so
there's
supported.
That repeated or,
Say that again, Liz, sorry.
I'm either gonna need to have that repeated or written.
Okay. If we send you the recording of this meeting, will that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and, so hopefully that gets in the recording, but maybe if anyone, if, at the end of this meeting, if you have notes that we could send to them, that would also be helpful. So, why don't you, yeah. What are some other thoughts?
I think that is important, that information. It's just not under the Conservation Commission.
Right, or clarifying what the Conservation Commission's role was.
Yeah.
They didn't actually acquire their support or promoting
Right.
recreational use of a piece of property that was already a part of the town. Right, like with Harris Brook, that's what you said. Harris Brook, we already owned, and then it's,
I have a couple,
okay,
page, I guess it's 71, third column, second line. The word "to," does that really belong there?
page 71, third column, second line,
Third column, second line.
opportunities to including, opportunities, no, so that two can go out.
That could probably just go
Yep.
out, yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice little
and,
edit.
actually, the Blue Ox Farm doesn't exist anymore.
That was my next comment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what
Are both Blue Ox and Acker Fiber Farm still in existence?
Agri fiber.
Yeah,
They are.
yeah,
Okay, the Blue Ox is
yeah.
fallow, as they say.
Mhm.
Drop that.
We could, there are other active farms, so
Yeah.
that we could add if like Stewart Farm,
It's Steve
Uh,
the farm.
Sunrise, I mean, we have other farms, but Blue Ox is not.
Stewart Farm, that was one that was referenced.
Yeah, Stewart Farm, there's a Sunrise Farm, which is over on George Hill Road.
Wasn't
They
it
do
Valley?
the same thing.
Well, they're same family, but they're two different farms. And
Oh.
like, one is the parents, like their property and they do vegetables and then Stewart Farm is more meats
Now,
and,
does Tammy D. Felice have a farm?
yeah.
Canfield,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know, but she's also Canaan.
She's up Canaan.
Um,
Yeah.
She's at the end of the road in Canaan. But those are, but yeah, they're kind of the same but different, so.
There's Pleasant Valley. That's Campbell's.
What about the Drexler and those people have
Right.
farms?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's farm stands, and that might be worth it, like, cause we do have a couple of farm stands on 4A. They're not, Drexler's growing. And we have different eggs spots too, so, a good handful of egg people, but too many to, like, they wouldn't be worth counting, but they might be interesting to weave in there. But yeah, Drexler, she grows her own stuff, the one that's across the street from her.
Pleasant Valley, someone mentioned it.
Yeah, Pleasant Valley is there too. They do the corn and.
Okay, yeah,
pumpkins
so
right
he
now,
goes to
but-
Windsor to buy, he gets his vegetables from Windsor and brings them over. He doesn't grow
Okay,
it.
so he doesn't have. has
He
a
just sells
greenhouse, But, okay,
Yeah, but all the pumpkins and corn and stuff he gets from Windsor.
okay, so yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just nice to say the farm
Farm
stands for
stands,
people.
like that's where it's like there's farm stands and egg selling. Cause there's lots of those little pockets around.
And there's one on Maple Street.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
On Maple?
Yeah, Maple or May, one of
The one that's way up? Yeah, Canaan?
She's in-
Yeah, that's
that's
it.
Tammy.
Tammy DePlace.
Tammy,
Yeah.
she's in Canaan.
They're
Yeah.
Canaan by there, yeah.
Honey producers as well.
Yeah, so,
Right.
and that's where they're part of like farm stands, basically.
Yeah.
I say,
So-
Sounds good. Farm stand sounds good.
If there is a way to weave that in, because we definitely, I know at one point, the suggestion had been trying to like, to take the farmer's market and try to pull all the people
Wow.
that had farm stands and get them to
Pull
come to the
overhead.
farmer's market. And of course, everybody's like, no, we just sell, but we have
it's a lot easier not
a lot
lugging stuff
easier
back
to
and forth.
put stuff on the side of the road and let people make their own change.
Why not just indicate in some way that there are farms by local people that are small scale farms throughout the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small
Instead of everyone just focus on one big
Yeah,
farm, we want to kind of advertise it.
That's
Yeah.
a good suggestion. I like that.
Can do that.
well. What else you got, David?
Okay, on the next page, first column, second paragraph, about halfway through. Food is a basic need and there are opportunities to grow and rise more of our own food. I think should be raised. Next column. First full paragraph, second line. New Hampshire Fish and Game have identified, I think it probably is has identified.
Thank you.
Anybody English major?
I agree with that.
Okay,
I flagged that one too.
let's see. Under surface waters, probably about 2/3 of the way down, the sentence that starts, however, the water quality in our lakes have experienced contamination. First, I think have should be has. Joellen?
Which page was this on?
And 72.
Yes.
And, I'm wondering if the word contamination is a little strong and emotional.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And in the next paragraph, same comment for the word polluted.
Well,
Mm,
I would have a little.
okay,
I
speak.
agree.
We're allowed to
Yeah,
to
no,
talk
I
about
know,
this.
You can disagree.
It's,
Agree.
and there has been contamination in the water quality. Or what would you, how would you say that instead of contamination?
You could say
Maybe the water quality has deteriorated.
And
That's probably.
I
not a
mean,
I think that's, but that, and I think that's more systemic versus a contamination, which is sort of a pinpoint. I heard you, Liz.
Yeah, so I was gonna suggest, it's a little bit. It might need a definition, but nutrient loading, because that is technically.
She said nutrient loading.
Thank you, Chris.
Woo, get Crystal loud and clear.
Yeah, Crystal, if you can help me by doing that, that would be great.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll try.
So maybe it's has experience, but is nutrient loading going to be a good enough, layman term that people are gonna understand
Yeah,
what that means?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
it'd have to
from my
be-
point of view,
It
contamination is
would
good
have to
word.
be defined if we did add it. We would suggest.
What if you just took out in recent and said, I mean,
Well-
if you wanted a little more broad and you said over the years, I mean,
I don't
we
know,
know about early on and what was done.
Yeah.
And we know that it may not be great right now.
or is it, So contamination in recent years, I mean, it's not wrong.
It's not wrong at all. And I think I like it
Mhm.
because we're talking, talking not only nutrients, we're also talking bacteria. And we're talking contaminants to me says, whether right or wrong, there's some control by man here. Some of it has
I
been,
see where this is leading.
I like it though.
let's talk.
Well, I can't think of a better word.
Yes, Dr., what do you think, Dr. Kelly?
Yes, I think contamination is appropriate because I've been collecting water with the help of Glenn Green for the
Sure.
last 5 years.
Mhm.
Sending it to, Nick,
UNH.
Melton Analytical Laboratory
Okay.
for cultures for heterobacteria.
Right,
And I'm finding cultures of over 1,600 and some odd colony forming units of fecal bacteria in the shorelines of Crystal Lake, all the way around it. And also a large number of bacteria coming in through Bicknell Brook that's the same type. So contamination is an appropriate and necessary term as far as I'm
Okay.
concerned.
It leads into the next paragraph, which again, if that paragraph is, because contamination in recent years, and there is a growing concern, and because we are doing some focusing on stormwater runoff and septic systems and things like that. And those are conversations that are currently happening because we've had some issues, not just because and those issues were exacerbated by excessive rainfall last year, but they're not isolated to excessive rainfalls last year, right?
Yeah.
So is the next paragraph also the best way to say that and the best way to then to further define what we mean? Because I think that's what the next paragraph does.
As far as polluted?
Yeah, the cyanobacteria, algae blooms. Is it polluted stormwater that is creating those? So is it polluted? We've already used the word contaminated.
Yeah, can you add what it is? I know.
Like polluted
Like the
means
word is
trash.
for instance.
In my brain, polluted can mean both trash. Is it trash? Is it
It doesn't have to be trash. Sediment can.
Fertilizer.
Cause the.
fertilizer?
too.
Is
Just anything that adds to the nutrient level.
right. So so I guess I'm wondering, maybe if we're questioning the word polluted, just as a think process here. Go ahead.
Yeah, polluted stormwater would be correct, because
Okay.
I've also got evidence that when it rains heavily, a
Mhm.
lot of the leach fields are being washed through and are running back fecal bacteria down into the lake.
Yeah.
When it
Yeah.
doesn't rain, the soil doesn't get washed as much, and so the concentration decreases. But when the snow melts in the springtime, and when it rains through the summer, you get a washing of the soil that's carrying the leach fields, particularly in properties that have less than a half an acre.
Okay.
I've been collecting water around those small properties that front the lake, and they are the most serious problems with contamination so far. I'm going to continue with this.
Sure.
But I think storm pollution of stormwater runoff is an appropriate term based upon what I've determined.
Here's my,
Within the watershed.
huh?
How about adding within the watershed with the stormwater, because that's what's happening.
Sure.
I know the crystal and within the watershed, because that will focus on the beyond the shoreline, go up the
That's a
hill.
good idea.
Yeah.
There's that. My other question is, and again, just as a think process here. Is it worth adding another line? And again, this would have to be if Liz and company can do it. The pollution is coming from leach fields. It's coming from fertilizer, like versus trash. You know what I mean? Like, not to say that there is no trash issue.
When you hear polluted, you think trash.
Sometimes I
Yeah,
do.
got it.
I know it means more, but
Yeah.
maybe that's just me and I'm okay to be
Yeah.
wrong. If everyone else looks at it and they go, any type of pollution, or is there a way to add some qualifiers to, I know there's a lot of different things that are adding for polluted, but it's not just coming from
Yeah.
And by trash, I mean
I know.
from the transfer station, people not disposing of their paper waste and stuff, but it's a different purpose.
Well, they talk include the stormwater, but they also include increased levels of phosphorus.
Right,
That, to me, means
but you gotta know what increased levels of phosphorus, like what
Right,
creates
from
increased
people
levels of phosphorus,
fertilizing their lawns.
right?
Yeah,
And
there,
sediment,
there's a-
Okay.
sediment, leach fields and,
We got dog waste, we got
yeah.
a
Right,
lot of.
I mean,
different things.
there's definitely like animal fecal material, like, some of the conversations have been, the Bicknell Brook and just, runoff from wild animals, Again,
So much,
yeah.
that's not.
That's why it's important to include
Yeah.
the watershed, because it could
Sure.
be
yeah,
coming from, anything up the.
Sure,
I might add that, in culturing for these particular organisms, the Nelson Analytical Lab, I've asked them to culture for heterobacteria. Now, these are bacteria that grow between 37 and 39 degrees centigrade, which is the temperature of the human body, and pH of 7.
okay,
In addition to that, E. coli is one of the organisms that comes out of wildlife, but they found very little E. coli in these samples that I have been sending them. So blaming wildlife for contamination of the water is relatively insignificant in terms of what human pollution is doing.
Okay.
So I would not
yeah, good.
change this very much. I would say that I've also had
Humans.
the volatile organic compounds searched for in Crystal Lake.
Mhm.
They are below the level of detection.
Okay,
that's good.
And I've also had PFAs looked at, and they found that there was 5 nanograms per milliliter in Crystal Lake, which is the Minnesota Public Health Department has determined that 7 nanograms per milliliter or higher is a potential public health problem. So the PFAs are below that level in Crystal Lake. So those contaminants are not seemingly running into Crystal Lake. I haven't done Mascoma Lake yet.
okay. My whole point is that Mascoma Lake, way back, I don't know, like, was a dumping ground for tires, refrigerators, etc. Vehicle, they're people just dumped stuff into water because it sunk and you forgot about it, right? Trash, like literally like trash bags of trash, you throw it in. Is it the Indian River that goes all the way up? Like where was the factory in Canaan, which I know is upriver?
Queen Baltic, you talking
I
about?
don't know.
Wasn't the mill dumping into it?
The mill was
Or
dumping,
what?
like Gary Hamel,
All the
his whole,
dye.
like, all of his are, he says you can look at the striations on because the practice 100 years ago, we'll say not in this generation, was to dump everything in the water, right? Obviously, we've gotten away from that, but that's what I'm trying to say. We're differentiating. There was a big cleanup. Mascoma, it was called Poopscoma. There's that, and I want to say that's why I'm wondering if it's worth differentiating some, like, or just clarifying, not differentiating, maybe it's just being a little bit more clear what that contamination is, and it's not that people are throwing their bags of trash in there. Yes, Dr. Theis.
Mascoma Lake made a publication in the Smithsonian Magazine
Oh.
many, many years ago about Mascoma Lake.
Uh-huh.
You can actually solve this problem by just quoting that particular magazine article.
Oh, it did
Front-
not know that.
I have a copy of that, but the front page is the one with a blacksmith standing naked from the chest up. And,
Dimitri Jericaris.
Yeah, I don't remember. his
Oh,
name.
how about,
I
like,
have
you know, what'd be good is or if it's archived online, if we have
We have a link.
if we,
Yeah. I
maybe,
don't know if there's a link, but I have it too. I can scan it and send it.
surely, let's
Suggestion?
scan it, and that would be an awesome suggestion, yes.
All right, how about if,
Cool, thanks.
so see where it says phosphorus, it ends with phosphorus?
Yeah.
From polluted stormwater runoff and increased levels of phosphorus. This excess phosphorus can be exacerbated by things such as fertilizer, dog waste, and lake shores which are not vegetated,
Sediment.
Yeah,
sediment.
I just think that there's a way to just sort of, be to clarify a little bit, but I think that article, if we can scan a copy to Rob and Rob can send it to Liz and company, might provide a little bit of context. I just wanted to
Great.
some context there.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Thanks.
I wanted
Move
to,
on.
I wanted to add to this discussion, which I'm very glad that I started it because I think we've delved into it and come up with some very workable solutions. In the SWOT analysis,
Okay,
the answer, page
77.
77, there's a lot of room under weaknesses where we could add some more detail that we've been talking about.
David, I had a similar thought, and perhaps we could add, some of the recent legislation that you've been intimately involved with, such as HB 113, which is you now have to have your septic inspected prior to the sale or during the sale of a property. HB 1293, which you guys just had as override of the governor's veto, which says phosphorus now has to be labeled clearly. And any fertilizer with phosphorus in it is not supposed to be around the
Yeah.
lake. And then Liz, you might not be aware of this, but next Monday, a week from today, the select board is likely to vote after deliberation in public on a new septic rule. If that new septic rule goes through in one form or another, I'll defer to the rest of the people in the room. I would suggest it would be good to have it in this particular chapter. I think it's that important.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
The Conservation Commission supports it.
yeah, the Conservation Commission supports that, like, again, how it pans out, but that is an action that is being proposed. Again, if it goes through,
Yep.
then it is an action that's being taken. We have to wait till next Monday to figure out what the language is, if
Yeah.
it's, but it's definitely something that's being discussed right now as an action to help, with contamination
Yeah.
issues. So,
So my thinking is the language, Liz, could be something along the
Yeah.
lines of these issues are important to the state as evidenced by these two new laws. As well as this recent rule, assuming that it goes through,
Yeah.
has been passed by the select board, which says.
if it goes
X, Y, and
through,
Z.
here's an action that's currently being taken.
Yeah.
With that has,
I just wanted to add something that the Conservation Commission was doing at one time, and they really made a lot of headway. And that was working on the Knox River. And we must have loaded in one of these long dump things filled with tires.
right, see,
In
that's,
one area of the Knox River, and that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing we could add in that we could do.
Yeah.
Continue to do, is monitor some of these brooks and
Mhm.
streams.
but also that's actions that have been taken. Cleaning up of the Knox River, in fact, wasn't last year, there was a big spill in the Knox River.
Couple of years
Some-
ago.
yeah.
Was it last year, 2 years
It
ago?
was 2 years ago, because I happened to be outside, because it's next to the
Yeah.
driveway and could smell the gasoline.
Yes,
I was like,
Yes.
what is happening?
yeah, and like so,
What are you trying to do?
It was a truck
a truck,
crash and it
Oh.
was dumping.
yeah, so anyways, I think that adding those, but we need to get, resilience, that information, because that's sort of,
Makes people aware that.
Sure.
Kind
Yeah.
of thing. that you-
but those are actions that have been taken, and where can they access that information in order to add it in here? Has it been, I guess it's been, recorded or logged as part of Conservation Commission minutes, or?
Would be.
Yeah. Where
I
do they
have,
go?
multiple pictures of trash that has been thrown into, the ditches and over the walls on Bog Road, which
Okay.
I'm about to send to the Upper Valley or the Valley News.
Okay.
These include large numbers of tires,
Mhm.
paint cans, bricks, broken up baby carriages, and even a four-wheel, off-road vehicle that was dumped into a drainage ditch along Bog Road that has just recently been pulled out of there by the Department of Public Works. I think the police department is trying to investigate who it once belonged to.
Okay.
But these contaminations are very common along the whole length of Bog Road. I've also found out that there's tires being just thrown into the woods along Jones Hill Road and Boys Camp Road.
Okay.
So part of this problem is associated with the cost that the town has instituted for the disposal of tires at the transfer station. But that doesn't excuse people throwing them into the woods.
Mhm.
And that's happening. There are some huge truck tires on some property that was sold along Bog Road to a family in Utah that have not been removed. These are not just pickup truck tires. These are 18-wheel trucks tires. And each passenger car, by the way, has 5 gallons of oil in it.
Mhm.
So when those rubbers deteriorate, they release that oil into the soil.
Yeah.
Which contaminates the wetland, particularly along Bog Road. And that wetland drains into water sources
It's an aquifer.
that are important for the aquifers that supply those wells along Bog Road.
All right, sounds like we have another thing to add to the weaknesses, and some of it is the prohibiting
Human
cost,
behavior.
human behavior, but also prohibiting cost of tire disposal or that, or just,
I mean,
I know, some of it.
I just disposed of tires there and I think it's $3 a tire. I mean, it's not,
First I thought you meant like on Bog Road and I was like,
no.
Kinda thought you did
No.
too.
At the transfer station. Hey, I grew up in, no, at the transfer station.
It's
I
not-
mean, and for some people it might be, but I guess it's,
Sure, so it might be prohibited, but I think there's also, this is probably learned behavior.
Yeah.
And or a lack of, again, like, there's a lot of old country farms where there's a lot of rusted out cars and things that get left to the elements and, we had a farm in the Shenandoah. There was a lot of places, that like just, you threw the tires in the forest, not that that's appropriate, but,
Okay,
Because
so
we-
weaknesses, it seems like one of them is lack of understanding, maybe, or lack of coordination of cleanups. I mean, that's something that could be done.
yeah,
and under opportunities,
we have
Do
some
we
cleanup
have-
coordinations
it's like education.
for sure, but I don't know if that's black up, so,
I-
but,
We did very well
yeah,
one year to have the transfer station take, well, actually, we did it down at Whitney Hall. Have a tire day.
yeah, I'm gonna say like,
And
there's an
everybody brought
opportunity,
their
like. we
tires
start
in, it
getting
didn't cost them anything, but
Mm.
we really filled up stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing to do, because then people aren't throwing it out.
So,
That's kind of like a hazardous waste day.
Yeah.
hazardous waste days, shred days.
That's a
Yeah,
big
I was just looking too, like under threats, we do mention lack of education, and I feel like this circles back to that lack of knowledge or education of like, well, what's the big deal? It's just me. It's one set of tires. Like, what's that really gonna
Well,
do?
we
You know, like you always think
We
you have a little,
always have, this is
Exactly.
my family's property,
or you just think you have this
You
tiny
know?
little bit of an effect when really
yeah.
everybody who thinks that adds up
Adds
to a
up.
very large effect. So, I mean, maybe that's,
So, okay, I think there's some room in here, but these are good. It would be great to get some of those photos if Rob could scan them. But it would be nice to have a negative photo, potentially.
Yeah,
And I've got about.
But we need some negative photos. We need to
Right.
show, like,
Yeah.
it's lovely to have an environmental chapter or conservation chapter where everything is beautiful.
Right.
But if there's trash that's collecting in places, we need to show that and say, this is still an issue.
Something we need to plan.
Like, we've
Yep.
been working on it, but this is still happening in this community, and we need to continue to pay attention and create and call it out and fix this.
Mhm.
So if it's concentrated in certain areas, Bob Road, and, I mean, you know,
It's along the
exit
roads.
17. My
where
God,
they
the
go.
amount of trash that
Oh
gets
my
thrown
God.
out of cars on exit 17,
But
but
it's like a magnet.
Awful.
it's weird. But anyways, I think that would be great to have some negative photos.
If you saw the other,
Yeah, I will. I think there's something else that might be added to this that
Okay.
may be touch a nerve.
Sure.
The availability of the community having a land ethics in terms of its use,
a land what?
a land ethics.
Okay.
Many people here think of their land as an economic significance.
Mhm.
And that lends them to do things that are not necessarily the best thing for the community as a whole. The ownership of land carries with it, as far as I'm concerned, a responsibility
Yep.
of maintenance and care.
Mhm.
And land ethics is a part of that particular aspect. So if you could weave the importance of the community developing a land ethics, this might stimulate them to think about, well, what is land ethics?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And basically, if they begin to think about that, maybe they'll realize that throwing tires and garbage into the forest is not land ethics.
Sure. Green infrastructure
Because
solutions.
most of this
Right.
pollution that I've found
Mhm.
is on public lands. Lands owned by the New Hampshire Fish and Game.
Mhm.
They're not throwing this onto people's private property, although there's a lot of contamination on private property along Bog Road that I don't know that you can do anything about.
Right.
But the development of land ethics, even for people with private property, might stimulate some concern about what they're doing to the rest of the community around them.
I have just one more for threats.
Okay.
Conservation can come with a cost. And sometimes it's borne by the state, sometimes borne by the town, but oftentimes by the individual. And sometimes it can cause real financial strain on families. And sometimes they just may not want to pay. There's can't pay and there's not want to pay, but conservation can come with a cost.
So is that the same as the cost to do the right thing as a barrier? That's under threats? Is that what you're?
Lindsay, I have to come clean. I did not notice that.
You just said it in a different way, but yeah.
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Scratch that, Liz.
Got it.
All right. These are some really good ideas and things to. All right, anything else, next?
Let's see, on page 76, under water quality testing and lake monitoring, the first paragraph, probably about 6 lines down, it reads, and increased sedimentation, shoreline erosion. Should there be the word "and" between sedimentation and shoreline?
That's how it was intended.
I think yes.
Oops. Shoreline erosion.
Is the phrase sedimentation shoreline erosion, or is it increased sedimentation and?
By
shore-
shoreline.
Yeah, by actually making.
By, okay, that's the word. Let's see.
Hey, David, before you move on, could I wrote down, let me see what I meant. So I said already happening. So does this sound like quality is negatively impacted by pollution, source of increased to make informed natural resource planning decisions. See, the regular testing of phosphorus levels and other nutrients and monitoring overall lake health should occur on Mascoma Lake, Crystal Lake. I know through Dr. Theis's efforts as well as Glenn Green's efforts, it's happening on Crystal Lake. Is it happening on Mascoma Lake?
Yes, town pays for it.
They
Yeah.
have a different, well,
So is there something else we're trying to say? Should it be increased? Should it be continued? This makes it sound like it's something new that would be kicking off.
it's over there. It's fine.
So Liz, it sounds like it is happening, so maybe we could just say this should continue to happen into the foreseeable future.
Because the two programs are different. The program we have with UNH is weekly from May to October. And the program with DES is monthly, but I think 3 times. a
Well,
year.
so it just sounds like we take out should occur, and do we just say that it's necessary? And that, you know, is necessary, cause that's the like, that backs up the, not saying that we're not doing it, but it backs up that these are necessary programs.
Yeah.
And then there might be, and then it's, I think that just, is necessary. And then invasive species should also continue to be assessed and mitigated as needed.
David, before you want to leave that paragraph, I got a couple more other things, but I
Go
don't.
ahead, Dan.
Yeah, okay. So Crystal Lake Association, the last line on the second to last line on the page is the Crystal Lake Improvement Association. And then it seemed to me similar to our previous discussion about what is pollution, what is runoff, et cetera. We could work fertilizers into that first sentence because that is a major contributor. In Enfield, water quality is negatively impacted by polluted stormwater runoff, falling septic systems that leach contaminants into our perhaps where we say impacted by polluted stormwater runoff from fertilizers and other materials, failing septic tanks. I'll leave that to
Yeah, we can do that.
people that are more eloquent than I.
Great.
All right, David.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. On the next page,
That's
which,
adding to what's there, right? Not
Correct.
taking anything out.
Correct.
page 77, first column. Probably about halfway down the page. It says bacteria and other pathogens can enter swimming areas and create these health hazards. Which health hazards is that referring to?
I think these snuck in there. I think it should say.
Louder, please.
I would suggest dropping these.
Okay,
Dropping what?
these.
Creates health hazards. She said,
Okay.
she thinks
Yeah.
these is snuck in there,
Good.
and it's not, cause they haven't referred to any health hazards, but just creates health hazards. Full stop.
Good, yeah, these.
Good catch.
And on the SWOT analysis again, we ought to be cognizant of the select board's meeting next week before we include the second under opportunities, which talks about broad public support. I mean, I hope we get it, but
Well, I think you don't
It still
hear
says
from
it's
the
an
support as
it's
much
an
as you.
opportunity.
Right.
don't.
But it
Well,
is,
but-
it's under an opportunity, so we still have an opportunity to get.
I think
broad
there's
public
broad
support
public
if-
support for water quality. It's just how we achieve water quality
Right.
is what's up
Lindsay.
next
Mhm.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's not that,
that's a good point.
there's multiple thoughts, and some of it's stormwater management, some of it might be septic system, some of it's, there's different protection measures.
Yeah.
One is on the select board.
And that one on the
Okay.
select board, some would argue is a first step. Because there's other streams and other things in the
I
watershed.
think
that-
overall, everybody, you know, and the support that it may not have is generally some folks, it seems from the conversation I've heard of like, oh, it's not the main cause of contamination.
Want to be brought.
That, so 80, like, it's only 20% of the contamination, and we should be dealing with the other 80%, although,
Well, each of them should.
yeah. Yes, we're not gonna litigate all that here or recreate the conversation, but I think that there is support for water quality protection. It's just,
We saw
And
that
with
with the planning board previous to that, the room is full of people that wanted regulation for water
We
quality.
did.
Well, and also all of the surveys that were done. There's
Mhm.
more in the survey, and water
Yeah.
quality came up a
Mhm.
lot.
They say lots of times at some of these meetings, you hear the negative view and the positive.
Mhm.
Bump them out.
So, I mean, like I said, I think because it's sitting under opportunities, that's a good spot, and we have the threats. Where I think a lot of this circles back to the education piece.
Right.
Okay, so that's an opportunity, again, right, to circle back
Okay,
that direction for conservation or the town or whoever to help get the word out. If people are missing.
I'll go along with that.
I haven't got the how yet, but I'm
Yeah.
sure we have creative people.
Okay.
Page 78, the second and third line of the first column, keeping their septic systems up to date. To me, that implies the latest technology rather than keeping them functioning.
Yeah, so maybe not up to date and,
Uh, I don't know what the,
Well maintained.
yeah, there we go.
thank you.
I like that.
I'm just thinking out loud with you now, but maintained includes inspecting and pumping. If we want to put in,
Septic system's healthy. Septic system, it's maintained because it's a machine.
Just, well maintained and well functioning or correctly functioning, something like that. Let's see, a little bit further down under collaboration. Last sentence, Enfield should continue to be an active partner if any efforts arise. It sounds like we're looking at a present tense and a future tense in the same sentence. I wonder if we could.
so David, following on that thought, one just started, right? We started the Mascoma
That
watershed
watershed thing, yeah.
initiative. There's been one meeting so far. I'm assuming that's gonna be a multi-year project, at least
I'm
18-month
told it's gonna
project.
be a multi-year project just to define the problems.
So could we talk a little bit more about it in this report? This is our master plan. We have a good first step towards creating a plan. We're not there yet, but letting people know that it's going on.
I just want to add that we did do, but we didn't do it, Muskoma Watershed Council did it. There is a study, a Muskoma Watershed study done, and the Conservation Commission has it
Okay.
Do you know how recent that is, Celine?
20 years ago. It shouldn't be that different, it's the same watershed.
Yeah, but the
What's on it has changed.
development and stuff. Wouldn't that?
But I think it's important if we have a group, like Dan said, if you've got a
So
group
there's a
that's
group,
together, they've met.
so say it
start-
again, there's a group.
I
that-
like I like the thought that Dan is working on, so.
The watershed management, blah, 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 I get the exact title.
Okay.
But it's, DES is the sponsor, I guess.
Okay,
We're working with FB Environmental. They're the consultants that are gonna take us through this whole process. And we're pulling in people from all surrounding towns that have, skin in the game, and even some that don't, but have been through it themselves before, like in Sunapee. And Shirley and I are both on the committee. And, like I said, it's gonna be an 18-month project. And that's probably gonna get us just to problem identification and then suggested solutions.
Okay.
That'll be a whole.
so it sounds like to me that there's a, in between that first paragraph of collaboration. Or maybe it changes this whole second paragraph, but say currently, or, Enfield is now partnering with DES. If you could get a little bit of information of what it is, an 18-month study, so we can put in a current collaboration that's just started. And like it's just started, so 18 months from where? So if somebody's reading this in 2 years, they have a reference point.
The water management plan.
Sure.
Thank you.
So let's get that information to Rob to get to Liz and say, here's a collaboration that started, as well as in the future, keeping our eyes open for other collaboration opportunity. It's just sort of a, and, cause I think that's what that last little paragraph of 2 sentences is trying to say.
Yeah.
But, it says it in a couple of different tenses. that, you know, and keep an eye out for other additional opportunities.
Rob, I'll send that your way, and Liz, I'll send Rob what I have and you can wordsmith.
But I think it would be great to add that in as, especially also a start point. So again, if we don't do this for 10 years.
Right.
Do you have the, Regional Planning Commission working with you too?
I believe they're in there, Shirley.
Yes, look, just a minute, I switched to.
It's,
Yes. The Lake Sunapee Regional Plan, there'll be, it's
Upper
amazing.
Valley, like, so, yeah, right.
There's there'll be someone from Grafton, Orange, Dorchester, Lyme, Hanover, the Mascoma River Local Advisory, Upper Valley, Lake Sunapee Regional, Grafton County Conservation District, Lebanon.
This is a word count
Lebanon is-
dream if we need to. add the
Lebanon
word
is the
count.
one who applied for the grant, actually.
Okay. Someone who was like, I gotta get to 10, 20, 10,000 words with that, I'm all in. We
It's
could be-
their drinking water supply.
Yeah.
Yes.
The last wording of that, paragraph, I think it could be, a continuing idea is Enfield should continue to be an active partner when any issues arise.
Yep, an active partner and, add into effort, like when efforts, issues rise.
Well, that is an
Yeah.
activity act.
Yeah.
The idea is that the contribution from Enfield should not be ignored.
Right, and or singularly, but yes, we should be participating in regional, local, different activities and with regional partners.
Because I mean, things that do in those towns that seem like us far away, what they do affects.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking like if we have to take up space, we could list all the people.
There's a map that shows how much,
I don't know how much that's.
how much in each town.
I don't- I'm
the
joking.
watershed
No, I meant the
covers.
whole
Mhm.
thing.
Well,
Valley.
Even just wanted completely in it.
okay,
I like your suggestion of changing the if to a more positive when. I
yeah,
think that really
Yeah.
changes the focus of the entire
yeah.
sentence.
So when the efforts arise, we need to take those opportunities. All right, I think we've given them.
actually, can I give you one thing totally different though, but in the
Sure.
same section, collaboration? We talk about the planning board, the conservation commission. Do we want to include the ZBA in there as well?
Is it?
Yeah.
That's why I put it out Dewey.
This is the 10,000 foot view,
All right.
or maybe the 20,000 foot
All right.
view.
So one could argue that a planning board and a conservation commission can put together some pretty good stuff. But if you were to have a ZBA that was maybe lenient, would all of their efforts go to waste?
Yeah, I agree. I think the ZBA needs to be in there.
I agree, Joe.
That's more support than I've ever had before.
Maybe we should just say all land use boards. Rather than call them out individually.
Well, how many of the others are there?
Well, there's ZBA, planning, conservation, and heritage.
Okay. Sure.
And recreation, would that be land use
That's
board?
not a land use board, that's a recreation.
Land use.
Exactly.
Well, but you also have a difference between commissions and boards and
I would
what
think
they're
public
regulated to
works.
do, so. Do you,
I'd go with boards.
Okay.
How about departments, like the public works to pull them in, because that's gotta happen, it has to. Or you keep having the runoff going into the lakes. They gotta get on board somewhere.
Well, they will,
What's
but,
happening to the
but the
lakes.
decisions are made at the board level
Yeah.
and they implement.
Okay.
That's the way I see it now.
Well, also, what happens on the land affects what happens in the lakes.
Right,
So you've got to be able to not necessarily separate those particular environmental portions. You've got to be sure that they understand that they're both connected.
Mhm.
And so I think including all of the organizations that have to do with land use here is something to, rather than naming them individually. is to,
Yeah. But if we don't name some of them individually, does that give them an out to, like, if you say a general term,
Yeah,
you say the birds,
yeah, you're right.
you know, and you're not talking about, are you talking about raptors? Are you talking about songbirds? Are you talking about waterfowl? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there is a little bit more weight when you do call them out individually, at least the primary ones that are setting policy and that, than just to say everybody, you know, because then they have an out, like, oh, I didn't know that meant me.
Yeah, I would agree to name them individually.
Or at least if that ZBA in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it should also be like,
Yeah.
Save some people's aggravation, but I don't think in this case that's worth saving.
Right, like
Let them get
it's,
aggravated.
if we add ZBA into it.
Yeah.
And just that one and not try to then go, okay, well, you know. We can go too far too, and you know, but
I
like.
feel like we could go dot, 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 see also. land use
David, thank you.
All right.
Let's see. I have one more.
On that page.
On this section. Second column, about halfway down.
First paragraph.
I'm not sure that I understand the meaning of this sentence. This includes focusing protections of lands over drinking water resources, comma, sensitive surface waters, et cetera, et cetera. Are we talking about favoring protecting lands that are physically above aquifers? Or are we talking about protecting lands
More than one.
with a higher priority than the rest?
Okay, same question.
What is the intent of this sentence?
Where are you?
Top paragraph.
Oh, okay.
If anything can impact,
Well,
So
If
the
you-
sentence was,
anything can
Hey,
impact water.
let's listen to
Let's hear Liz.
Liz.
can you
Go
hear
ahead,
me?
Liz. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this sentence was originally intended to, focus on strategic conservation of, sensitive.
Of what?
Crystal, can you, repeat that?
I couldn't, she cut out. It said of sensitive and then it cut out.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so the sentence was focusing on, it was trying to communicate that the town should focus conservation efforts and protection efforts on lands that are defined as natural resource. So
Okay.
I would include land over aquifers. I would include wetlands. I would include
and
the
prime.
priority of being
Yeah.
prioritized over.
Okay. Okay.
So did I hear her right? She said it is meant to be suggesting protection of lands is more important than those other things?
No.
And a sensitive natural resource. That's what it's
She-
trying to say.
Yeah.
I think
These are
she's
really
saying,
valuable.
she's
It's like a more
saying,
sensitive natural resource.
she's referring to aquifers,
And prime
I
wetlands.
think.
Yes.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
lands
okay.
that are directly adjacent or over those aquifers, prioritizing them, not that other ones aren't important,
Right.
but those are so again, like, just as we're looking at, so I think to me, a prime example is, even though it's not it's a drinking source of Mascoma, we're prioritizing people to live right on the lake
Yeah.
versus out removed for septic system, you know, regulation, if you will. Because they're more like, doesn't mean that everybody else isn't important, because we know that, you know, you're in a watershed wherever you are, but prioritizing,
But the people on the tributaries are important.
yes, but that's not saying that they're not, and
Right.
and on that tributary would be near
Right.
sources,
So she was saying more sensitive areas. So that's covering all of those things, is what she
Yeah.
was saying. It's focusing on those more
Yeah.
sensitive ones.
I
without
don't-
taking away
Is the word
But I
over?
can't see, and especially here in this town with all our slopes and everything, trying to say just, well, here comes a development, it's a, are there any sensitive areas? So you're asking, is there a wetland? Is there a prime wetland or whatever, you know, or is it a slope? You need to, you can't say more sensitive, the whole thing is part of it. You know, even even if you wanna build something on, let's say that on, Boys Camp Road or Oak Hill Road, a large complex thing, or you know, it's gonna go down to the lake. So you can't, it's not all wetlands going down to the lake, but that kind of impact on that hillside is gonna be going down to the lake. So when you say it's more sensitive, when you start defining what is more sensitive like that, people ignore a lot of things. So that's what I'm afraid it would happen if you do that. Well, it's not near a wetland. Well, it's not this, and it's not that. You know, that's what I worry about. Land is sensitive all over the place, especially here in town to us, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think when you introduce those subjective terms, it leaves a lot of room for a misinterpretation and abuse. Because of the size of Enfield, the limited amount of aquifers that are available to supply the public service, the 2 wells that were dug in 2023 will not come online for 2 years, according to the Department of Public Works, because the examination of the water capacity for use in the public realm has that long ago, or that long to take place before they can actually connect those 2 wells to the system. So there's one mention of a carrying capacity in this document. And that's something that people here in many cases don't understand. The carrying capacity is something that affects humans as well as every other animal here. And if you don't leave enough slack in the important infrastructures to accommodate the changes in climate, which include drought in this area, meaning less snowfall and less rainfall, which is the only thing that filled these aquifers, you run the risk of exceeding the infrastructure that's available. So you've got to leave, you can't build right up to the carrying capacity limit that is today and expect that to be sufficient for the rest of the century. And that's something that people here don't, I think, understand.
So I hear what both of you are saying, and we have to remember that this is a hyper-focused chapter of one subject in a bigger plan. And as the master plan works, is that everything is multifaceted. Okay, and so that's when we use qualitative, or when we use language that says prioritizing. It doesn't mean, like, there's gonna be development. There's gonna be development in this town.
Yeah, but
There's-
you want it done right.
Exactly, yes, you do,
So.
but you
No,
can't
to
say,
everybody should be,
exactly, but
included.
listen. You want it done right, but there's multi-levels, and sometimes you can say, there's a wildlife corridor anywhere, because I saw some turkeys in my yard. You can say that there is water, you know, everything's in a watershed. There are places that are more sensitive than other places. There needs to be some development while leaving some slack. I like that
you
word.
wanna develop it away from those things.
Yes, but there's also, you can't have zero development because
We're not saying
everything is sensitive.
You could,
So I'm.
why make the mistake? Centuries people have done this over and
Listen,
over and over again. They
because-
overbuild, they do this, then they learn,
It's
oh
not-
God, we should have done that.
Sure.
Why do it again?
It's not about that. It's not
Yes,
about.
it is.
No, it's about prioritizing. Prioritizing.
You can't prioritize.
How do you-
Nature to me.
But we're saying
you're-
you're focusing on the protection of lands.
Yes.
That's covering all of that.
Exactly. And I know I've been on boards forever.
Right, but we already
see,
have a land
People,
use
if they
plan.
don't know, if they don't understand it, They're way out there.
But
and
that's
they're-
not
You can
this
make,
plan's
what my
job.
point is that you can make that argument for every single piece of land here in town,
You
that,
should.
except, but you're gonna have development somewhere. And
No, but you don't do it in wetlands.
Right.
that's
All right, if they're
prioritizing wetlands.
Yeah.
That, you're making
No.
my point.
All
that
right,
you're
let me tell
prioritizing
you, well, let me
wetlands.
tell you something else. Right down across from our farm,
Uh-huh.
we had somebody build in very poorly drained soil,
Okay,
which comes off, I was connected, my farm is connected to it.
sure.
right? And it's the very poorly drained soil comes down from off a field and down into this and eventually to a frog pond. Well, somebody decided they were gonna build in where it says poorly drained berry and it's marked on everything. You can't build in that soil. You're not supposed to build in that soil. So what happens? So they build in the soil, they buried a machine while they were doing it to get the test. So they've got a moat, they had to build a moat like around the house to collect the water that comes down. It impacts, not only does it impact the area that you're filling in with a house,
Mhm.
it backs up everything that's coming down. God knows what it's gonna do to the pond that's at the bottom of the hill. That, to me, is sensitive land, but that's not written like poorly drained and very poorly.
And somebody could have
But
made
that's
the,
what they'll
but
tell you.
somebody could have made the exact same case when your farm was built. Cause your farm impacted the land and it impacted everything around it, but you had your farm built. So the point is, there's gonna be some development. The point is that you can make a case that everything is sensitive. The point is that how do you make responsible decisions and say, it is about, protecting wetlands, but not every wetland is, like,
Direct aquifer.
in a direct aquifer, you know? We've built some ways to have some runoff in a pond, not in our property, but my neighbor property, and now cattails grow there. Technically, that might be a wetland, but it's,
Now it is.
right, but like,
State will
that
control
didn't
what it says.
exist. And, until he dug the hole and it filled up with water. The point is here is that when we're doing the master plan, you can get hyper-focused and say conservation is the only thing that matters and all decisions need to be based on that. They can't be. They have to be based on multiple things. And there's things that are going to give. So we use language like prioritizing in order to say, you can't cherry pick from the master plan. You have to use multifaceted pieces of it. Because progress is going to happen. So is there a better place to build? Probably, maybe, but sometimes it's
That's
also,
what you need to do.
or sometimes you build here and then you put in, proper drainage or remediation. So that's where.
And can
But
you
I
also
don't-
argue
Okay.
that
We
this
need
is
to,
not-
we need
Can
to
we-
move on. It's
I was
not,
gonna say,
it's not
this
about the
isn't
attitude.
our-
This is how a master plan is written. It's the 30,000 foot. It's the 30,000 foot, and these conversations happen at the base level. But we are not writing it for that level. We have to write it from here. And that paragraph makes sense.
And
We also have
everybody
two
would
other
make that as an
chapters.
excuse.
Okay,
Up to the planning board. Well, the master plan says this,
right.
so I'm not
And
gonna.
the planning board has
you
to
know.
understand how to implement the master plan,
No,
but you can't cherry pick from it.
We have to get more involved.
We need to
with
move
this
on.
stuff.
We need to move on.
You can move on, but I absolutely
I
don't
know,
think you should give up the land use and its values for
we're,
development.
But
period.
that's not, but we have a
That's
land
not-
use chapter that's separate, and we have the state involved with laws for wetlands.
This is.
And all,
if
to
you're
build a
talking
house, you
about
have
the
to go
wetland
through it
thing,
all, so
But if you're
that's
talking
not the
about
master
this,
plan.
it should be a priority.
right, and also one of our priorities in this town is to build. Is to build housing. That is something that has come out of, so how, you have to balance those two things.
It's housing.
Yeah,
Well,
we have a
it's
whole housing chapter that says we need to build housing. We have to move on from this.
you know, from all the reports that were done at all those meetings, not everybody was saying.
It's not gonna be
all this
consensus.
housing.
We are not
No,
looking
it's
for
the state.
consensus.
And it, as it comes
It's
down.
not about consensus.
Folks, we are getting way
Have to move
off
on.
track.
You're right,
I've already
you're
said
right.
this. Thank you. Are there
Got it.
more pieces from you, David, in this chapter?
I'd like to add.
I'm gonna call on you
I
in
don't
a minute,
like that
Dr.
either.
Price. Is there anything that you have?
I have said my piece on this chapter
Great.
and I probably talked way more than I should have.
Okay,
And other people need to contribute.
Dan and
I
Shirley.
just have one thing,
Great.
under recommendations on strategically, that is, should be 21, not 23.
Okay,
That's all.
Got it.
under strategically, it's 2021, not 2023.
Right.
Great.
I'm
Dan,
gonna pick up where David left off. Let's go over to page 79, which is the
which
recommendations.
is the recommendations.
First, I have a question. It is investigate in the first column. Investigate the feasibility of stormwater utility to help fund necessary stormwater management investments. I have no idea what that means.
What are we looking at right now?
We're under, recommendations and investigate, and the question is, what does that sentence mean?
Stormwater.
So stormwater utilities are a tool that some communities throughout the state are considering using to fund different types of water quality. That's
So would it, I'm sorry, Liz, you went in and out.
Can't hear that here.
Yeah.
Is it another department within the Department of Public Works? Is it a,
it's a fund.
No.
it's a
It's a-
fund?
Fund, yep.
Okay,
Does fund exist?
and it
No,
currently
but
exists?
Investigating the feasibility of developing one to fund efforts in the, that's why.
I mean, it exists in other places.
Okay, just, maybe I'm just not the sharpest knife in the drawer that's been said before. Could you work on that sentence maybe to make it a little bit more clear what that is? I don't think the average person would be familiar with stormwater utility. Yeah,
Yeah, we can.
Define stormwater utility, yeah, that'd be helpful.
thank you.
Okay.
If we move over to development in the next column, inventory of properties, lake shores, blah, blah, blah. So I have heard this as a tactic to look to improve lake water quality by doing an inventory of properties around the lake shore. We're not doing, we may not be doing exactly that, but I think we'll be getting to the same end, which is, do a baseline inspection of every septic system around the lake. It's getting to the same spot, but you might want to change your language because of that.
Should we wait till after Monday night?
Yeah, yeah, and that'll all be determined Monday night. And what we may want to include, and I'll throw it out to the group, this is just my opinion, is if we're recommending this, we might want to, in the select board, only go so far as to say Mascoma, Crystal, Spectacle, and one other. We might want to suggest in this section, expand to incorporate all lakes, ponds, and streams. So we're suggesting that select board, good job, now go a little bit further. So I'll throw that out to the group. And then the last thing I'll say, we could discuss it all, under promote, the very last one is, again, if we're going to add in zoning board earlier in the chapter, add zoning board in there.
Good idea.
Are you
I'm done.
done? Good. Anybody else? Okay, final comments.
I'd like to stay on the conservation lands on page 1. You mentioned it in your map, but you don't indicate it there as under the Societies for the Protection of New Hampshire's Forest. You should mention the Laramie Wildlife Management Area. That includes an area from Smith Pond clear down to Bog Road.
Okay, you said page 1?
Page 1, yeah, and the second paragraph, that's conservation land. The Laramie Wildlife Management Area
71.
Okay,
should be added to that list of things you put down there. It's shown on your map, but it isn't listed in that category, and people might not pick it up on the map.
oh, the Henry there, okay, yeah. Yeah, we had talked about that a little bit, Liz, in a different chapter, that sort of Coal Pond,
Yes.
Henry Laramie thing, so we need to make sure it shows up. Okay, great. Good. Perfect. All right. Put this chapter away, please. Let's move on. We, whew.
Facilities.
Facilities, town facilities and services.
I just wanted to note really quick that we did receive, just a couple comments from the police chief.
Uh-huh.
And so they, provided us some revised descriptions of the department and the emergency.
Okay,
So that's going edited.
okay. All right, let's try to do this and, well, we'll do this in the time it takes. So anyone have some comments, start us off.
Yeah, page 82.
Page 82.
Okay, public safety complex. Project was approved by town voters in 2022.
Okay,
Thank you.
There was also something about the optimization. Where was that? Were the outcomes from the 2019?
oh, so that's in the paragraph above, under town facility.
Yeah.
These projects for
Was-
outcomes.
Was that, Rob, do you remember if that was 2019?
Oh, was the
Public Works.
The municipal facilities optimization study was coordinated. Was that in twenty
Yeah, that was
nineteen?
before I got here, so it said 2019. Yep,
I thought it might have been 2018.
might have started in 2018. I can look into that.
Okay,
I'll get that.
just.
But it could be, the date would be on when it was published, not when it was started.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I'll get that.
Yeah.
the last line there was something about including okay, that next sentence, this included an assessment of the current condition of all facilities in town and provide recommendations for long-range planning of those facilities to ensure. I don't think it would be ensure. I think it would be to assess or evaluate their longevity over time. Because it's not ensuring.
Okay. Recommendations for long-range planning of those facilities. And their. Yeah, okay.
What page are we on?
Where are,
We're on page,
Page 82, first
82.
column on the right-hand side, last sentence.
last sentence of town facilities.
Yep.
That,
And
the first section,
and it's the last line of that.
yes.
Instead of ensure their longevity over time, I think it should be assess or evaluate.
I agree.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, under the public, under police, it's everybody says a Sally Port, but what is the Sally Port?
What? Where?
Sally Port, under the
Okay.
public safety complex, first paragraph,
Okay.
dedicated Sally Port. I mean, I understand.
Bring in a
police-
prisoner.
Yeah.
And
in their
that's fine,
car.
but it's,
It's a thing that has,
I understand,
gates.
but no, but how,
Lane
who else
people,
knows?
Processing area? Yeah,
I mean, it's a
Holding
technical.
stock.
security,
Holding.
you know, something about high security.
Yeah, it's
that's where you bring the part.
where they're enclosed in the building.
It's just, you know,
Seems like.
a regular person doesn't know what that is and it
Yes.
just keeps popping up.
So is that one of those things, like, when we built the first one, we wanted to have hyperlinks? Did we?
Yeah.
And we just, so like it's a word that's highlighted and you click
Go to
on
the
it
definition.
and it gets a definition. Pilot, like, is that
Could do
something that
that.
we can build into this?
Yeah.
Because that's the proper term, and this is a way to have people learn what that is.
Yeah,
I agree.
That-
Okay.
Or
then-
you could just put parenthetically after Sallyport what it is the first time, and then it's pretty much
Yeah,
defined.
but it's.
Sure,
it's
yeah, so-
Mentioned ever again.
Right, so it's that, or I thought we were trying to do hyperlinks for
yeah,
like,
we are.
that
That's a
have,
layer of functionality, though, that's kind of late.
That has-
I think. But
No, it isn't. I
You
don't
can
think.
ask Liz, I mean,
okay. We'll either have a defined, but I think that's hard to, I don't know if it's, whatever the definition is. Or go look it up.
That's right.
In in parentheses.
We
Yeah.
can always hyperlink terms, but we would need at some point a clear list of what. So we can
Sure.
begin that now, or we can do it.
And-
Yeah.
okay. All right, so moving down
Okay.
that same paragraph, it says Enfield's Fire Department, ba, 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 ba. It says staff, the fire department. Do we have a volunteer fire department?
We do.
Yes. Well, shouldn't we mention that as
Yeah,
volunteer?
I flagged that as well.
Does he call them volunteer or does he call them on call?
Probably.
No, volunteer because they are not paid as far as I know.
No,
I
they are.
think so.
They are?
They,
They're
get
paid
paid,
call.
when they call. when
Okay.
they're called.
Or respond to a call.
Mhm.
So we could just say 12 on-call firefighters.
Yeah. That'd be better. Okay, next thing, who is the emergency management director?
Yep,
Richard.
Yeah, and we have a revised description.
Richard Martin.
That's something new. This
I
year.
just-
It's Richard Martin, isn't it?
Emergency Management Director is actually Chief Roy Holland. You talking about emergency medical services?
yeah,
That's Richard
no.
Martin.
And she says they have a revised, that was something that Roy sent to them, so they've got a revised
Yep.
thing.
It's a brand new department this year, isn't it?
It's, I
Yes.
believe it's EMS. It's
They've
not
got a
EM
committee going and.
department.
Yeah,
So-
they haven't implemented that.
Right,
They
but,
discussed.
but we don't need to define it in here because that could change. Right now, it currently is chief, but it doesn't say it has to be the police chief, just happens to be.
That just is who it is.
It just is who it is, so
Okay, so, page 84,
84.
new slate roof. I thought we weren't putting on a new slate roof.
Shingles, asphalt.
That's what I thought too.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
page,
you're jumping into things and like, you're not specifying where they are,
I'm
but that's
sorry.
okay.
This.
page 84, which was
Who was on the
under
committee?
Whitney Hall.
But it's still.
Sorry, what's,
I can't remember the names of the people.
Page
I
84.
know Eric was on it.
hey guys,
I don't
I'm
remember.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Joellen still is doing things. Side conversations are very difficult.
Page 84,
84.
in the center column, the last, paragraph under Whitney Hall.
Okay,
Is it there? Oh, where is it?
I see
Oh, excuse me,
your
it's the,
renovations.
it's over, yeah.
Yep.
It's the last,
Last
column.
call.
Interior, and then it says the existing elevator, blah, blah, blah. Exterior renovations include a new slate roof. And it
Okay.
will, it's gonna be a shingle roof.
We've already
Right.
taken.
It already is.
You could just say a new roof.
okay,
New roof is fine.
okay. Next one.
Next one, page 85, there's a misspelling of the word cable, which somebody may have already identified. That was under
Yeah.
last column, telecommunications and broadband. That'd be there, wasn't it?
Right here.
Where else? Right there.
Got it.
I didn't see that.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yep, collateral.
Okay. Page 87,
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
Okay, 87.
Yeah, something about projects. I don't know. Sorry.
It'll come. There we go. His project's right there. What kind of projects are we gonna focus on?
Oh, right here at the very top, it's misspelled. Upgrade pro.
Thank you. You're right.
No,
Yeah.
you were right.
Okay. All right, anybody else? Thank you.
Page 81,
Page 81, back up to the top.
photograph of the library should probably be updated because it looks a lot better now. If they can do that anyway.
Well, we can do it in, the library has a countdown in 5 weeks. I mean,
I say, can we get a
Front
picture?
facade is completely.
Yeah, it's completely different
Okay.
painted.
all right, so
Tree's gone too.
Yes, and that wall.
Maybe you go around the other side. of it.
let's flag that photo and see that if we can't get an updated one, what, cause that project is slated to complete in just a few short weeks. And so, like, we might be able to get an updated photo.
Mhm.
Although, it'll probably also be stick season, so it won't be as pretty as we're gonna lose the trees in the background. AI it.
I have one, Liz, on that first paragraph under inventory and trends says Enfield town facilities and community services are supported by property owners through taxpayer investment. I would add also that we're also supported by ratepayers on the sewer and water system. So a lot of our infrastructure is actually supported by ratepayers as well.
Thank you.
That came from the town manager.
Okay. So the very first, yeah,
Mhm.
good. Other thoughts? Could we have here?
I question some of the titles to some of these things. The assessing department, then there's the finance department. Who was the finance department?
Liz Labonte,
Huh?
Elizabeth Labonte, she's our bookkeeper.
They're not the same, if that's what you're wondering.
So that's a department now? I thought Wendy or somebody did that.
No,
Wendy's town clerk.
Wendy's town clerk.
Assistant town clerk.
That's,
Well,
Daisy.
it just seems like new. And it's,
And a bookkeeper.
I'm really not crazy about how some of this was put down, because I don't think some of the stuff we've done.
What,
The departments were
And
created on the
as a
website.
part of this, it talks of every department's called a division, which I don't like at all, because we're a little town.
but I'm
We don't have
cemetery
division of
department.
this.
I'm the cemetery department, but I'm a division of Department of Public Works.
Well, I think.
'Cause that's where
new
my budget
language is
rolls up.
unnecessary. You're gonna make Enfield into a city, is what's
Well,
gonna happen.
no, but it has
Yes,
to
it
happen
will
that
be.
way.
You keep adding all these things, none of us are gonna be living here.
We're
So
not,
we
Liz
won't
just
be able to-
said that's on the website.
yeah, we're
And that's
not.
where she
adding
got it, so it's already there.
There's too much going on that all of a sudden there's something new that has been created, and it's,
Well,
I find it very disturbing in this.
well, we're not creating this. This has been created, and
But
so,
we're here to look at it and correct it, right?
no. We're,
Then why are we here?
we're not here to correct it at all. We're here to give, this is like an inventory assessment of the
All
town.
right, well,
So in a way, and to summarize different things, this is how our town offices and,
so somebody
Staff
wants it to be.
is
No, this is
structured.
on the website, Celia. If you look at the government, these are all listed
I
under,
know that-
and that's where she grabbed it from. So they already exist and people sit in those
It
positions.
existed this year.
I've been around for
you know,
3 years and it was
It's
around
very
before me.
scary. It's very scary what's going on in this town. Very scary.
Okay.
And you stacked up here 10 years, the police station's supposed to be good for? Who's spending all this money? That doesn't make sense to me, and how could it make sense? I don't think the taxpayers would like that. We're spending all this money on the public works facility or the emergency building, and they're saying it's good for 10 years?
Yeah, I think
I
that
don't know, where's
needs to be clarified.
Where is that? Can we point that out, please?
Oh,
An actual
It's in the
specific
beginning.
find
beginning of
They
what?
talk about the facility. You go down. There, it's in there somewhere.
Okay, in the SWOT analysis, under facilities and services. It does say address the town's facility needs for the next 10 years. And I would agree that that is something that we should check.
And it also says it, right here in the, under town facility, upgrading these two major facilities will meet many of Enfield's
okay.
existing.
Where on, you say right here and you're
What
pointing
page?
at the computer.
What page?
On
We need
page,
words to say where it's at,
it's on page 82,
okay?
halfway down on the town facility.
All right,
It says, begins with upgrading, the second word in.
all the way up.
Right there.
The next 10 years, there you
Yeah,
Okay,
and deficiencies for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, if you're forecasting the needs of, and you look at like the situation with the current police department, it was great when it was built, but they couldn't forecast beyond a certain point of what was going to be needed, and now they are way outsized what they need, so the existing building doesn't work. So that, I'm wondering if that's where that's looking at, is that we can forecast 10 years, but how much change happens? We don't know what could so we can only say like, sure, this could work for 10 years, and then we don't know, maybe.
Because this master plan
But We're
should
not
be
doing that.
reevaluated
Is-
in
10
10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Haley,
where
would
that
you
came
feel more
from.
comfortable if it said at least 10 years?
That would-
I take
that
10
might
years
help.
out.
Yeah.
Liz, is that what, I mean, just from your, expertise on writing these, is
Yeah.
Bridget's assessment correct that you're talking about?
Yeah, and roughly the master plan is evaluated after about 10 years.
Sure.
What if we would change it to through the life of the master plan?
We also
That
have a
could,
lot of
that
that
could be a
left.
generation.
But that also only links it to the master
Look at
plan.
the solution.
So I think it's, I'm still not seeing it. I don't know why I can't find it in this, on page 82.
Sure. Halfway down our town facility.
On that screen.
Upgrading these two major facilities to meet needing differences when forecasting. Yeah, I mean, forecasting
I can
is
see now
out
what it
10
means.
years. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean
Right.
that it's only gonna last 10 years and we need to build a new facility.
I see what it means, but I agree, it could be. a
It,
little-
all
Could
right,
be worded better.
It could be worded.
we can just flag it.
Reword it, yeah.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Um,
That and the SWAT section, too, please, Liz.
Got
I
it.
agree.
Yeah.
I only had two things that haven't been said. So if we go to the back page 87, the recommendations, complete critical roadway culvert and bridge maintenance needs, period. The next consider, I think, should be changed to continue considering climate resilience such as upsizing culverts, et cetera, et cetera. 'Cause that's already being done. And I lied, I only had one thing, that was it. That was just that.
all right,
Okay,
David.
at the risk of boring everybody. On the page 81. In the first column, about halfway down, where we talk about, great stride. Including building a new public safety complex and upgrading Whitney Hall. Should we add, expanding the library or creating a library wing there?
I think so.
And upgrading Whitney Hall and Library Building,
Or
because they're combined together.
upgrading Whitney to include
It already concludes it.
It already.
an expansion of the library, whatever, wordsmith.
Expansion of both.
Yeah, so we're upgrading Whitney Hall, we're upgrading the town offices and library at Whitney Hall.
Yes.
Hey,
No.
beautiful.
I like it.
Who caught that?
Next,
Okay, sort of a general comment, on the town facilities section here.
Page which?
Page
82,
82.
next page.
It's written in the context of, well, not there, in October 2024. And this probably won't even get passed until the end of this year, maybe next. By which time Whitney Hall will be open, the public safety will be well on its way. And I'm wondering if you can just sort of reword it so that the wording works for the next 10 years.
Okay, especially those two sections, it sounds like the Whitney Hall and public. where
They've already
it's
have-
talked about within the chapter.
Yeah,
So,
let's see, what else have I got? Okay, under Public Works Complex, probably about halfway down the first paragraph. you've got a whole laundry list of what is in the Public Works complex. And let's see, you've got a pole bar down there.
Yeah.
As opposed to a pole barn, although I'm sure the workers would love to have a pole bar.
Thank you, because I couldn't imagine. what that
That's the quote of the night right there. I like that. That's funny.
It's just beyond the tiki bar.
I'm sorry. That just doesn't. Pull back.
Can we keep it down in here?
Sorry.
The former Public Works facility on Shed Street already has been demolished. And within a few weeks, we should know that it's been
It was already announced that it was posted for sale,
sold.
but,
I mean,
it said it was posted for sale, like
It's pub-
property was posted for sale. Those announcements went out.
there's a public hearing scheduled.
Right. Even better.
Yeah,
They only had one bidder.
Phil, I didn't hear.
They only had one bidder.
One bid, that's true.
For sale.
Um,
That was right.
Let's see, what else have I got here? The highway division is responsible for summer and winter maintenance of roughly of town roads. I'm thinking there's probably an accurate mileage figure that one of the Taylor brothers has.
Roughly, yeah.
And jumping back to the bullet on the fire department. One chief, two assistant rather than assistants, chiefs.
Good job. Good.
I sort of used to do this for a living. Okay, under solid waste and recycling. Oversees curbside collection and the disposal of trash and the curbside collection and recycling of a curbside zero sort program. Are they recycling the program?
A lot of curbsides in that one sentence.
Yeah, a lot of
We can
curbsides
we can
too.
restructure that.
Okay.
Okay,
Good answer.
Are the 12 firefighters in addition to the volunteers?
No, they are,
they are the volunteers, apparently.
So should I say volunteer fire?
well, said they should be called on call.
Okay, so the water and sewer divisions maintains a sewer collection system that services and pipes wastewater to the Lebanon wastewater treatment facility. Why did I flag that? Services what? That services the village? Parts of Enfield?
Yeah, so I would rework that one as well. That serves the Enfield Village section of town, maintains. You've got maintains a couple of times, services what, so let's look at that bullet point. Yeah.
Okay. Transfer station and recycling. Provides curbside trash
They don't provide-
and recycling pickup services, not at the transfer station.
No,
The transfer station does
yeah,
one thing and
Yeah.
the curbside trash and recycling
so
is
just
a
strike,
different function.
provide the curbside trash and recycling pickup service.
Got it.
And just start at trash and recycling drop off.
And
Yeah,
I think putting the hours in probably is unnecessary because they could change.
The only
Thank
reason
you.
why I did is I thought that someone wanted the hours in, and maybe I'm totally making that up, or.
I can't hear you.
She did because she thought someone wanted the hours in
Oh.
there, but she can't remember, so maybe it should make that up.
Yeah, maybe not
It's gonna
that.
go on a date quick. We put those,
Yeah, it'll go out of date quick, so we might as well strike it and keep it a little bit more general, like,
say they keep regular hours.
yeah. Or it's open 3 days, I mean, why would we even do 3 days, like, I'll just strike it all and just stop
Yeah.
it,
'Cause that's still subject to change.
yeah.
They'll say it is open per schedule on town website.
I wouldn't even bother, unless we need work
Redirect.
counts. And then,
Okay.
Go look it up.
all right, keep going.
Next page, 85, the right-hand most column. The thawing of frozen drainage systems, maybe limited to culverts. Cause I think that's what they do. Under Enfield Village School. Serves pre-K through grade 4. It's the only school located in Enfield, and can we toot our horn and say it was a blue ribbon school?
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Designation.
Yes.
2023, yeah, so Enfield Village School, comma, 2023 blue ribbon,
School.
yeah, it's Enfield.
So,
Under road,
just to make it,
under roadways, it tells how many miles.
Oh, there we go, 66,
We're looking
okay.
at-
it's a, well, still a strong partner with the town, the school district operates independently of the town, so I'm just wondering up on page 81, where we have town facilities and as a town owned, we do mention Enfield Village School.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
like that's like a hairy
Um,
gray area for,
it is, but it's still a town, well, yes, but it's not a town facility.
I think it's owned by the Mascoma district, isn't it?
It's owned by the
it's owned by the district.
We
so I'm
have
just
to
gonna
get
take-
permission from them, and in fact, like, we're not gonna do town meeting there this year.
Yeah, well, not, so I was just, that's why I was thinking.
That's the only,
if we
that's the
say-
only town function that we do there, and we're not
Right.
doing it
We
there.
say differently in that other paragraph that is separate as a school district. It operates separately. So I just, I
Yeah.
feel like we should probably call it a town owned building because we don't maintain, I mean,
Right.
we don't fully maintain.
We share
It's
ownership.
not just our taxes that maintain that building. How's that?
Right, it's not a town-owned building. Say that again?
Can drop it from the table.
Yeah, drop it from the table, cause it's not a town facility. It's a school district facility. If the town wants to use it, we have to get permission, and we don't use it anymore.
We do for recreation, some basketball.
In the,
You just have to get permission from the schools to do it.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
the town.
Yeah,
gets-
okay.
okay, in the middle column,
What page, David?
we're still on page 85.
Okay.
Again, it's a question of this has to be read, for the next 5 or 10 years. And we say we're currently investigating new well locations and currently doing a $19 million
1.9.
sewer project or water, sewer project. And maybe just make that less time dependent.
But David, how about, at the time of this writing? That way they know it was going on,
Good.
Started in,
and if it doesn't happen,
Or just, just say in 2023 or 2024, whenever they started doing the well project, and likewise on the sewer.
Yeah.
Sewer and
believe-
water.
I believe there's two $1.9 million projects too.
There are,
Yeah.
yes. Uh, on page 87, okay, we caught the one, the typo on projects. Top of the second paragraph.
Yeah.
Finishing the replacement of the 1903 water line contains lead.
Right,
Which contains lead?
that's the timeline.
Or containing. which contains or containing.
That's it for me. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thanks for your close.
So just real quickly, we had Chief, you came in. Do you have anything to add to this chapter? You added some comments to our consultants that we're doing the public complex or town facilities and services.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Did you have any other, comments you wanted to add that you saw?
in to see if there's any questions that I can answer regarding it.
So,
We did have one.
Sally Port.
we defined a Sally Port already.
Yeah.
Flip into the alley, Sally.
That was an education for me. I was just calling
It
it.
does not need to make it into the minutes.
So,
We did have a question about, EMS. EMS, is it emergency medical services or emergency management services?
EMS is emergency medical service.
That's what I thought. That came up in, let's go back up to it. I think it was in right here. Enfield's Emergency Management Department manages the ambulance and other emergency services in town. So it should be emergency medical services.
I think
It
we're talking
is?
about two different things there is the problem.
What page again? Sorry, Rob.
I would argue.
We are on.
That's EMS, right?
82,
Okay.
near the top.
That bullet, emergency medical department, what it's saying, I think it's two different things it's mixing into one.
Yeah, I highlighted it, right? It's in your back.
Oh, and it could be part
Yeah.
of your change.
So I'm the emergency management director for the town, but we don't have an actual department for it. It's a duty assigned to me on top of being the chief of police. So in a lot of towns, it's either the chief of police or it's the fire chief. Me being full-time, I also have a degree in emergency management, so.
Right.
That's, the emergency management, director, but I don't manage the ambulance and other emergency services.
But I think the intent here was to have EMS.
Yeah.
Not-
I think
yeah.
so.
Should they
Yeah, but then the bottom part says the department
But that second
includes emergency management director and the administrative
Right.
coordinator. I don't oversee the ambulance.
Administrative coordinator is Emily, right?
Yep, and the public safety administrative
Yeah.
coordinator. So she provides administrative
All,
assistance to all three departments, yeah.
yeah.
So
What
maybe that
is, what
third
is,
part, that
what
last
is the,
sentence comes out and says, It's-
emergency management system? What is the one that the town manager asked for people to be on as an advisory committee?
So that's the emergency services advisory committee,
Emergency services and what?
advisory committee, right? Is it?
yes.
Oh,
I think that's right.
all right. So,
So you could put if you wanted a paragraph there that kind of fit, would be the emergency management director, which consists of myself and administrative coordinator. We're responsible for, keeping the emergency operations plan, the hazard mitigation plan, and coordinating and understanding the supplies and needs of the town of Enfield for emergencies and disasters.
Is this bullet point that says Enfield's Emergency Management Department, which would be consist of currently you as the Emergency Management Director and the Administrative Coordinator, which is Emily.
Yep.
Your job is not to manage the ambulance and other emergency services, but your job is to, what you just said, that other
Right.
spiel.
Yeah, is to supervise the update and continuance of the emergency operation plan, the town's hazard mitigation plan.
Okay.
And to coordinate response for disasters and
So to make
Maybe another
that bullet point read correctly, should we just take out manages ambulance and other emergency services in town?
I think Liz got it, don't you, Liz?
Yeah, I do. This is part of the email that I got. So
Okay,
Okay.
so that's gonna change and it's gonna be, right now it reads incorrectly, but they've got it and they will fix it.
Okay,
So were there, just Liz, while we have, Roy here, is there any other questions that you have for him from the email that you got? Anything that he can help clarify for you?
think that clarifies it.
Okay,
I have just one little thing on Whitney Hall.
yeah,
The first sentence says, Whitney Hall is a multi-use Queen Anne shingle style building.
what
It was
page?
built, oh, sorry, 84.
Okay. Thank you.
That was built in 1900, through donations from households to be used as a library. This is my place here, and now for the town offices. And shouldn't it say now also for the town offices? It sounds like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right, because if you say now town offices,
yeah.
that implies that it's no longer the library.
Great.
Good catch.
It does have a really nice sentence there saying after that in 2024,
Yes.
Yeah.
that it was expanded and renovated. So that kind of covers what we were talking about otherwise.
All right, anything else and any other things on this chapter? All right, we're going once, going twice, we're sold. We're out of this one. We are gonna do this last one, folks. Stick with us. It's a long
Okay.
day, but we don't have many meetings. So, energy and sustainability.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, we're start with you, Paige.
I understand, because I don't, page 91.
Okay.
91.
It says, the line before solar energy, okay, 91. It says the town used, megawatts of electricity. It should be megawatt hours of electricity. So where is that? That's under
I got it.
on the, for,
She's got
You
it.
get it.
Great.
all right, also on 91. Under recent energy efficiency upgrades. What I have here, it's from someone else. It says you can add powered to this sentence. So renewable options for home heating include solar powered heat pumps.
Okay,
Okay. Then on page 94, third paragraph. It's third paragraph, okay, something about microgrid.
Right here.
All right, is essentially a little island and it should be of, not if.
Got it.
Okay, so there's that person. Then we have. Okay, page 90.
okay,
Something about lower cost, where is it? Reducing.
Lower cost savings.
Reducing energy costs?
Yeah, on the right-hand column. Paragraph says in 2022. It says the community power plan at town meeting to offer greater choice of energy sources and lower cost savings. That's, how about lower cost?
Yeah.
Cost,
It's lower.
plural, and then take out the word savings.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, page 92. Last paragraph. First column. Ensure. I'm sorry,
okay, what are you looking for?
prepare disasters, ensure preparing disasters.
prepared to handle these disasters. So first paragraph or the first thing, okay, you got it? As a community, we must ensure
Exactly, yeah, at the end of that paragraph.
we're prepared to handle these disasters, mitigate risk and damage, and increase our resilience to these events.
Okay,
What was your?
I don't remember. We must ensure we are prepared to handle these disasters. Interesting, I don't know.
Okay,
But she said she got it, but I don't know what my point was there, sorry. Under transportation, there's greater interest in enhancing the walkability and bikeability of our community, which will, I know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. What happened was I sent this to two of the members. One of them responded and pointed out a couple of things and yes, what essentially, some of the things that they were saying were actually covered under a lot of the recommendations.
okay,
However, there were a few things that were kind of still needed to be addressed, and mostly they're covered in other things. One was about walkability. It's mentioned in the text here, and it's mentioned also in municipal chapter. It says something about DPW and about working about walkabilities. It's just, I don't want it to get lost. So I'm just drawing attention to the whole concept of walkability. And the other was about water. We've had a lot of discussion about water tonight. And I think that's covered elsewhere. And about disaster mitigation. And I think that was also covered. I think that's it.
Ready? I get points for helping her.
okay.
Do you need points?
All
I
right,
do. That makes me
David,
sad.
what have you
Oh.
flagged in this chapter?
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
The very first paragraph, actually, I guess it would be the last sentence that starts with Enfield was a founding member. And, I'm sorry,
89,
Amen.
89,
left column,
yeah,
first paragraph.
right.
Enfield was a founding member
Yeah.
of the community.
That
Power
whole sentence just seems a little bit awkward and maybe could be wordsmithed a little bit more.
Got it.
Okay,
It's a good point. It
What?
was, Lebanon, Hanover, Enfield, Plainfield were four of the original towns, and it
Yeah.
sort of shows. I think that's what they're trying to say. Maybe it would be.
Yeah.
Like you said, wordsmith a little.
yeah. A sustainable future for Enfield looks like a community that has access to clean water and clean air. I guess what I was flagging was looks like.
Looks like it.
Maybe there's some better wording you could find.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay. Moving right along to page 80 or 96, I guess it is.
it's 90.
90, okay, my eyes are failing. Bottom of the second column, Energy Committee. Many of the sustainability related actions that extend beyond energy that our community takes will be implemented by other boards.
I'm
What's
not
that
sure
mean?
where you are. Oh, I see.
I guess that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Is the community power now the default option? Yes, okay. Is it proper to give a plug to a commercial business, i.e. Revision? I mean, I know they're good, I know they're local, but should we be putting that in here?
Where are they?
Middle paragraph on 91, right below the chart of permits.
So the solar permit charts, and then it says Revision Energy, a solar energy installer, has a branch office in Enfield and installs solar arrays throughout the Upper Valley region.
Do we mention a private company anywhere else in the master plan?
We mentioned Casella in a previous thing that we reviewed, and I kind of had some,
I don't know, I
hesitation
think
on
it
that.
might be, I mean, the fact that they are located here means that, and that it's it's now Revision Energy, it was something else. Kim Cork is a member, like, we are a home base. Like, we have access a little bit more, like, I don't know, I think that,
I could argue the either way, and David, with the Casella piece, right? I could argue
Yeah.
that because they offer a town-wide service that we have a contract with them to do,
Sure.
while Revision, I see what you're saying, it is more private, you can choose
sure,
to use them
Yeah,
to do this. But we do have a really nice access.
and not
Right
just
there.
for installing solar. I mean, they do, heat pumps and I don't know what else.
I guess I lean kind of with your uncomfortableness.
Rob, what do you think? Or what do you think Ed would say?
We could ask him. We could say that we have a solar company in town that is.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's what I go with.
I like that.
That's good.
Not giving specific.
Novus Technologies
Okay.
actually put the one on the sand shed.
right. Okay,
No, that's good.
Because it could be changed again.
sure, I just think it gives like, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so in the third column, under recent energy efficiency upgrades, energy upgrades or energy efficiency upgrades improve the efficiency of buildings and lower costs. That sounds like something written by people from the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yeah, we can edit that.
Okay. In your SWOT analysis, lack of commitment to long-term planning, I view that more of a state issue at this point than a town issue. But what do other people think?
Marie, which, I think it's both.
Right there.
Page 92.
I think it's both.
All right, let's leave it loose. Next page, which is page 93, farms and food production. Several active farms that provide local food to the region and local farmers market. Is it farmers markets? Do we just provide to one?
There is only one though, correct? Like the actual farmers market that happens.
You know,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's one in Enfield, so if you're saying exclusive to Enfield, there's only one farmer's market.
Yeah.
But we do have local markets, so we have Lebanon and Canaan on either side of us as well.
and do our local farms supply those markets as well?
Some go to the Canaan one. I don't know if anyone goes to the Lebanon one off the top of my head, but I know we have those that do go to the Canaan one. So,
So
We
should
could-
we
we could say
pluralize
that.
markets?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, let's look at unmet and future needs in the third column. last two words in other ways, what other ways? I'm curious.
Oh, I anticipated this. Before I
You've
came on.
learned the way my mind works.
Yeah, so, and I guess I was wondering myself if I was using the word institutionalized in the appropriate way, but one of the ways that I see community have institutionalized it is actually ensuring that sustainability is embedded into decision-making regarding facility upgrades and things like that. It's actually part of the process regardless of staff turnover, et cetera.
Okay. Next section, expanding solar energy, the second bullet. Energy is then distributed to the customers. Maybe it should be their customers, locally or regionally.
Got it.
Next page. Second paragraph in the first column, left-hand column, about halfway through. More opportunities to develop larger solar arrays to generate power for electricity and heating. Do solar arrays generate heat? I mean, anything other than electricity?
Well, if
Which
you
does-
have,
Power heat pump.
yeah, you have a solar power.
Yeah. Okay,
And you can have a solar hot water system.
that's true.
You could say
Yeah,
and rent
yeah,
cars too,
but-
though.
What?
You could say and rent cars. I mean,
Sure, if you have a solar powered car.
Yeah.
no, electric
Charge
car.
battery.
Oh,
car,
sure.
that's
Right.
constant.
Where you're generating electricity that then runs your toaster and your car and everything, we don't.
Okay. Down at the bottom of that paragraph, the headline, do we want to say that the community power program tries to maximize community power rates? Shouldn't it be maximize savings or minimize the rates?
Yeah.
Yes.
Community power.
Page 94 at the bottom.
Yeah. All right. That.
Is it the sentence that says, in
Was that-
future planning, Enfield should consider how to creatively leverage these funds for energy efficiency?
I'm not hearing you, Liz.
He's asking if it's the sentence, in future planning, Enfield should consider how to creatively leverage these funds to support energy efficiency and renewable energy projects in town.
Where is this?
That's in the very
So,
middle paragraph.
Oh,
It's the last section of maximizing community power rates.
okay.
Wow. Right there.
Yes.
What about that sentence, Liz?
Is that the one that David was referring to when he was suggesting that it be maximized?
Oh, I think that he
No.
was referring to the title
The headline.
of the headline of maximizing
I'm
community
sorry.
power rates. Yeah. And that it's maximizing we're maximizing savings on community power rates. So just,
Okay.
yeah.
Under improving energy efficiency to curb energy use. I would suggest to curb its energy use. Enfield should improve the efficiency of town facilities rather than as it is, because that sort of implies the entire town. And what did I say here? Water quality,
Next column over, water quality protection.
see, I've got a note here that says public-private, meaning some sort of a public-private effort. I don't know what I meant. The hour's late.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 let's see, transportation, in the transportation section, can you work in the concept of complete streets?
Yes.
Yes. Got it.
I'm done for the night.
That could be a hyperlink
job.
too.
All right, does anybody else have any other comments on this chapter? Or what's going twice? Oh, all right,
Covered it well.
there
By the two.
is, for, there's still some time, so if there's something else that comes up, or you have references and studies and things that may not appear because they're not readily available. I mean, that ephemeral history that some people have, like, is not always available to Resilience. And so they're finding what they have online and what we've sent them. If you have those things, send it to them. I'm gonna send you a picture of my solar panels I'd like to see in this chapter. Because they're the best ones, and we were the first ones to have solar trackers. No, but like, there is opportunity to still add in information. People online that are watching this, if you have some corrections that you might see, send those to Rob that they can get onto Resilience, because it is important, especially select board people that might have the right titles and whatnot. So Kate, if you have some things, send comments to Rob. Rob will send them over how things get worked in, but we want to make sure that the information is as accurate as possible. In this master plan, but it is also the same language that is being used on the website. And, you know, we have to have that consistency. And yes, we might not always have it.
So will we get an updated draft so that we won't, others won't be?
Next steps. Liz, very, very quickly, we have on our agenda, we've got just talking about what are the next steps, revisions to the remaining. Nope, there are no more remaining 3 chapters. Rolling out.
We talked about.
The ones we just
Oh.
did. Actually.
Yes, so we need to see the revisions to these 3 chapters and then the chapters that we already revised, correct?
We have those
Yeah,
already. We just
Yeah,
haven't
okay.
discussed them.
Da-da-da. We're not going to.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
So
Then,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Go for it.
No, you.
So your next meeting is when?
That is the question. How much longer do we have, you all?
Until the money runs out, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll have.
They're
us
not
until
on a
we wrap
time
up
frame.
with you.
Okay,
So I
Or-
have on
We
my
need to study
calendar
this year.
yeah, on your calendar.
November 18th. And we have a meeting, we already have a scheduled meeting for the 4th. And so the 18th would be the next meeting with you all, be a month from today. What we were envisioning was that we would bring you basically the full plan. So it would
Okay.
include all the revised chapters in the plan. It would include an updating of the table of contents and an accurate numbering of each of the chapters to match that table of contents. It would include an updated implementation section. And we would add a little summary of the community survey feedback to the same format that has been originally created for the chapter.
Okay.
So basically, it would just be the full plan.
What is that date again?
No, the date's off. I think the
Okay.
date is off because we were scheduled to meet on the 2nd or 4th.
November 11th is available.
Yeah, so the 2nd or
that's-
4th Monday.
That's Veterans Day, or.
It is Veterans
It's
Day.
Veterans Day, so nobody's here that day.
Oh, okay. So that's why it went so we can do the 18th if we go to the community building.
Oh, yeah.
We can't do it here. So we would have to pick up the things and do it at a different location.
What do you guys want to do?
That, or we go to the 4th, and then we go to the 25th, and then we can be in here. Wait, where am I?
Fourth is the day before the election. Are you
No,
gonna
no,
wanna
no,
do-
where?
The
Okay.
fourth Monday.
And the 20th.
I meant the 4th Monday.
Oh, fourth Monday,
That's the 25th. We can do that.
We're in October, correct?
November.
November,
November. So we're in
Right,
October
it's the
now.
20 it's
That's-
the
Right now.
25th.
Thanksgiving week,
Tuesday, she couldn't do the 25th.
which we could do.
I don't know.
With that.
You're fine with the 25th?
Yes.
Can
As
everybody?
long as everybody gets us their, edits and changes.
Yeah, so if we could get, if you can send us the stuff by the 18th,
Yes.
or even the 11th, and then we have a meeting here on the 25th. I know it's Thanksgiving week, but,
Bang that out.
you can
Same
remote in,
time here.
same time, yep.
Lindsay, Kate had a question.
Oh, yeah,
Dropped
sorry.
her hand. I don't know
Oh.
if she's still.
Kate, if you wanna, sorry. Maybe, maybe not.
Kate, are you still on?
Well,
You did lower her
Yep,
hand. so-
I'm on. I just had to, I walked away because I waited for so long so many times. So I just wanted to say, this has not been distributed to either conservation or the select board. So while I would love to send in comments, I would have to have something to use to put those comments on publicly.
okay, that's true. So I was thinking from what your comments from the meeting, but yes, we have not distributed it to the select board yet.
Yeah, I think it
So-
would make more sense to put the comments where they go, or you won't, right? You'll have the same problem you have when we don't people don't give a line in the meeting. Won't make any
Yeah.
sense.
Sure.
Okay,
That sounds-
thanks.
I would send conservation to the Conservation Commission. I'll send energy to, although you've already shared it with your people, that's fine.
Not everybody.
Heritage, same thing.
Okay.
We'll do all of the committees.
So, all right, before we do that, so we're gonna get the chapters back. Before we send it to public, so if we get those chapters in November, do we wanna send those chapters before we have another discussion to select board and the 3 committees and get all of that feedback on the 25th?
That's a lot, though.
Including our stuff, because we've done our stuff, now we have to see if that gets implemented, so this is an opportunity to do that, and then the next set is if we're doing public feedback.
Did we do the recreation?
We did.
We did,
Did the last time?
yeah.
Yep.
So those chapters are there, maybe, we can get them printed out for you, there's still time to give comments.
And those,
Right, the first 2, we could distribute those. but
Yeah, so
they-
those would-
that
Yeah.
Changes incorporated.
So we can do that, so we'll plan to get, things to, and then try to, on the 25th, any committee and select board comments, we can add, because we've done hopefully our wordsmithing and kind of nitpicking, not that we won't find, and I don't mean to say nitpicking, but like combing through, but, and not that we won't find more stuff, but all right, so that's that plan, 25th November, Thanksgiving week, and then after that, to the public and hopefully to be adopted in early 2025. Well, right, but the work is done.
Hopefully,
I mean, once resilience and stuff is done, we have to get their stuff done by December.
yeah, we keep, are we in the
Pushing it.
second year of this already, Rob?
Yeah, this is encumbered funds right now, so we
Okay,
we have to
so
spend
we
it
have
this
to-
year.
we
We're
have
done.
to send
We're
it.
done.
Okay.
So that leaves us with the 25th, and then there's the 9th, and the 23rd is gonna be pretty rough, or the 30th. So we're pushing ourselves up in December, pretty back to the wall.
Clarification.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what I heard you say is on the 18th, we're expecting that we'll get the plans to review.
Mm-hmm,
We will have a meeting on the 25th.
mm-hmm.
At that time, we will then review them. Is that when we distribute them to? the
No,
committees and the select Board?
18th, when we get all of these back,
Yes,
they will get distributed to us and the committees and select board.
thank you.
We're running out of time. We gotta get this
I-
stuff
I-
done. If we are going, yeah, so that's where, so that'll be, if we are going to do any type of public feedback that then has to get implemented, that leaves December, and that's kind of asking,
That's really tight. I wonder if we should go back and meet on the 4th.
We
Will-
can't meet on the 4th.
Okay.
They can't meet on the 4th.
How about another night other than Monday?
Or we do the 18th and we meet somewhere else. And we go to the, if we can get the community building. And then we get all the information back, which was the original plan. That moves it up a week, and then we have to try and hit the second week of December. It's really tight.
It's the ninth. We see.
Are we doing a, is the public session necessary? For, people are gonna come in and, okay,
I think it's still. We have to have a official warned public hearing. Right, Rob?
Planning board has,
Planning board does.
before they adopt.
And it would be nice to have a public session beforehand, because that way we are able to anticipate and head off any objections that may be out there. If we met in the community building on the 18th and then meet again on the 25th, would people be willing to meet 2 weeks in a row?
can resilience do that?
Can resilience do that?
Well, you know what, if resilience doesn't need to be there for the public meeting, because we can take the notes and get those back to them.
Yeah.
They don't have to be there. Not,
Liz is saying it.
is that a thumbs up from you, Liz?
We are happy to provide whatever support that you
Okay.
us.
Okay.
But I agree, we don't need to be there.
Yeah, I just don't want to, like, I don't know what your schedule looks like, so therefore I'm not trying to schedule you all if you're like, so, but if we plan to have, I mean, that's all,
11th is also open on the calendar.
right. What is November?
It's Veterans Day,
Oh, that's right, we just talked about that.
town
All
holiday.
right, 18th for,
Some people have it on.
yeah. 18th for our meeting, we'll be at the community, if we can reserve it.
Yep.
Then we will have a public hearing. And then the information from the 18th and the 25th goes to resilience. If you all can attend both, great. If you can't, that's okay too.
We'll
And
let you know
then-
ASAP.
Yeah, and then in there, we will have a final copy, and I think we did this with the planning board last time, where it was like January 30th, or no, December 30th. It was like right at the end of the year.
It was.
So we may be looking at December 30th. Could you bring your, I don't know, that's the fourth Monday at the end, but like that would be or when's the planning board meet? In
Second
December.
and 4th, except our
Oh,
December
the
schedule has changed because of Christmas.
Yeah,
I can give you those dates, if you want. December?
yeah, because you're not meeting on the 26th?
No.
Only the 18th.
The
I
30th.
think we got two.
Okay.
So, yeah, the 18th.
When are you saying for a public session?
and
The public
fourth.
session would be the 25th
Thank you.
of November.
Pushing.
But we need to have an adoption by the planning board before,
Or,
I mean, I guess, before the end of the year, yeah?
Doesn't
Well,
have to
Oh,
be.
that doesn't.
We just
have to
need
be.
to pay
We just
resilience.
We just
before the
need
end
to
of the year.
be at a point where
Planning
we
board should
don't
do it
need
in
any more
January.
work from
They're
them.
happy.
Oh,
So, okay, so that part doesn't matter. So we need to get all the information, and then in December, let's plan to have one last meeting with us and resilience, and then be like, yes, this is the copy we're sending to the planning board. We agree with everything, and then hopefully it's adopted.
So what date will that be in December?
Monday, the 9th? Does that sound good?
The 9th?
I will not be
That's-
here, but that's fine.
That's the second Monday.
That is the second Monday.
Fine.
Okay,
just clarify, the 18th is a,
18th is a meeting, 6:30 at the community building. Hopefully,
is that a public hearing or
no,
No.
that's our meeting. That's
our
us.
meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. And the other one,
And
the
then-
25th is public.
Public, yeah,
Is that gonna be like a public hearing announced and all that?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
or is that a public hearing or is that a public?
That's a public
information
meeting.
session?
public meeting. We don't do the hearing. the zoning board does it.
Planning board.
Planning board does
Oh,
the
okay.
hearing.
It's
Go
It's a
for the
public-
zoning
Yeah,
board,
yeah,
please.
sorry.
The public meeting. for it.
Yes, it's a public meeting that we are going to accept other pieces of feedback.
So really
And
quick,
then-
Lindsay,
Yeah,
so do we want to post the plan that we are providing to you all for the 18th? Public might want to see that
Needs to be
at some
posted.
point.
Yeah,
before the
yeah.
Public meeting. So,
yes. That's a draft all over it.
yeah, so we'll do that. We'll make sure it says draft. And I don't know if it's worth actually pulling the chapters back out because we're really wanting people to focus on these 5 chapters. We don't necessarily,
Right.
right. So
Yeah.
we can pull those 5 chapters back out just to
Yeah.
like really focus people, you know, we don't want comments on land use at this time.
Right.
Yes, no, that would be, we want them to see those 5 chapters. The final integration can happen after that. Cause that's, yeah, that can happen in December. And like, hopefully we will meet one more time in December and be like, it looks beautiful. It was wonderful to talk with you. I don't know, that kind of stuff. Does that make
You in
sense?
10 years.
Yeah, go ahead,
What
Liz.
what we can try to do, because I'm just trying to think about for all of you and just like, if, I don't know how much you're gonna focus on getting the word out about this public meeting, but we can try to have the final chapters that are revised a bit earlier, maybe
Okay.
by like November 1st.
That would be
Oh,
awesome.
wow, that would be great.
Who then?
Could you do
Well, 'cause
that?
we'll want them on the web, cause I don't know how, you know, a week might be a little tight to get it on the website and then say, okay, public, like, check out the 5 chapters, you know?
I agree.
Okay,
And we'll say draft, like, it'll say draft all over them,
Yeah.
yeah,
but it at least gives people something to look at that includes all the feedback from this meeting, and obviously, there's still gonna be some other things that you'll wanna change potentially on the 18th, but it gives the public a little bit more leeway time.
yeah, and hopefully hopefully we can keep the public meeting, which will facilitate to big concepts and not people coming in and doing what we just did and, you know, wordsmithing and editing. But it's more of the, are they understanding what's in it? Is it, you know, that kind of stuff. We're keeping it to concepts.
And where would they get, if somebody wants to have a copy to read for the hearing, what are you gonna
On the
tell them?
web or from Rob,
Yeah, it'll be on,
either way.
So the advertising would say that.
sure, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So this is the meeting on the 25th
fifth,
of November,
yes, will
Yeah.
be a public,
public
like,
meeting.
public comment period. A public
Mm.
comment meeting. Feedback. It is not a hearing.
Right.
Not a hearing, but it is an open session for the public, to give us some feedback. You know, for those that are interested. And yes, okay. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
Our brains are working, all right. There's no old business. That's all the new business. There's no more
That's it.
public
Just
here.
Public,
We got the next meeting set up. May I have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Have a
you.
good night, guys.
Take with that. And all in favor?
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Are they gonna
Stop
do
the
this
recording.
ordinance?